My wife and I divorced a while back, pretty amicably. Instead of selling our family home and splitting the money, I suggested I take a loan using the house as collateral and buy another place. That way she could continue to live there, and our kids would inherit it eventually. She was reluctant, but eventually I convinced her. She's always been like that. Her reluctance to take any chances has held me back many times. This was a good plan, and it worked for a while. Eventually, however, I ran into money trouble. Everything was more expensive than I thought. The fixer-upper I bought needed a lot of renovation, and I got deeper into debt. I kept paying the bank, just not every month, sometimes less than the full amount due for the month, etc. Eventually, the bank foreclosed, and the house was sold to repay the debt. It was a shock to everyone. The bank had sent some threatening letters, but I didn't think they'd go that far, as I was still paying. Anyway, my ex moved in with our youngest son. She's doing fine and is not in any way homeless, but she keeps complaining about losing the house, and my kids have gone low contact with me. They all go out of their way to help their mom, while I only get scraps every now and then, even though I also needed help sometimes since then. I know I made a mistake, but it's not like I planned this. I lost a lot too, and even though I have the house that I bought back then, it's nothing fancy, and it's expensive to maintain. Besides, my ex lived alone in the house for a couple of years, rent-free. Last time we met, I told my kids they should show more gratitude for my part in raising them, and they should think that they have two parents, not just one. They're all doing pretty well financially. They said I was an idiot for demanding anything of them after what I did to their mom. They say I should give her some money every month to compensate for some of the loss. While I do earn more than her, I have expenses too. And it's not like she needs it. She's living rent-free, and our son is pretty well off, so he won't be kicking her out. I admit that my plan didn't work out, and it caused her some loss. But am I really such an idiot for expecting my kids to help me too, like they helped my ex? So am I the idiot for making my ex homeless? LOL, wife always held you back, huh? It sounds like her reluctance to take chances has only held you back from bankruptcy. The lack of self-awareness is astounding. When all of your adult children side with your wife, it means you are the idiot, and you should look at your behavior. She's not a risk taker, so we broke up. Anyway, I lost her house due to taking too many risks, but I still have this crappy new house that sucks money like a black hole. Gosh, double you are the idiot. He needs to take accountability. Look, I'm divorced, and I get it, but he owes her big for screwing her over. Wait, there's more. I let my wife keep the old house instead of splitting the money, talked her into losing that house to buy me a house. I make more than her, but I still want our kids to help me out, even though they're having to help take care of her because of how badly I screwed her over. He paid the mortgage on the house he bought while not making payments on the house his ex lived in. In essence, he stole her half of the house by taking out a loan on it, keeping all the money for himself, then letting the bank foreclose on his ex instead of just selling the house and splitting the money with his ex. Foreclosure does not happen overnight. You 100% knew it was coming and didn't tell her? Triple you are the idiot for screwing over your wife, taking advantage of your kids, and painting yourself as the victim. OP is totally cut from the same cloth as these guys who come on here and say, I make $500K and my wife makes $30K. I insisted on living in $1 million home and splitting expenses 50-50. I'm about to retire next year, while my wife will have to work until she's 85 to afford the lifestyle that I forced on her. It sucks to be her. Meanwhile, while she works, I'll be vacationing on a Greek island. There are such selfish idiots out there. OMG. You bullied your ex-wife into putting her house up for collateral. which I guarantee she did just to get you away from her. And then you lost nothing, and she lost everything. You owe her every penny. And how dare you tell your children you deserve more? This is so blatantly wrong. And if I were your child, I'd help my mother sue you for every penny you stole from her under duress. I, female 28, let my sister, 20, live with us while she goes to university. In return, she pays us $500 a month. This covers her room, the extra water and power, and her food. It's very fair. She also does chores and helps with the kids. That was our agreement. We wrote everything down so there was no confusion. My understanding is that room and board at her school is $1,200 a month for shared accommodation, and it's only available during the 8 months of school. So living here is $6,000 a year instead of $9,600 for 8 months, and then 4 months living with our mom and stepdad. All was well for 2 years. She's a good student and a good kid, but she has a boyfriend now, and she started complaining about watching the kids every other Saturday night so my husband and I can have a date night. So I told her I'd find a sitter, but that she was responsible for paying them since she was supposed to watch the kids. Now she's complaining that her paying the sitter is using up all of her disposable income. She said she might as well stay on campus next year. I agreed and told her that was a great idea. She gets her freedom and I get my hobby room back. My mom called me and said my sister wasn't my unpaid nanny. I told her that I had already agreed that she could live on campus next semester. Then she said that I was being a witch because that would increase the amount they were paying for her, and that 4 months away from her job and boyfriend was cruel. I'm kind of torn. We had a deal, and I think it was fair. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. $500 a month, including utilities and food, plus babysitting every other Saturday, is a great deal. You should have given written notice to her about the deal coming to an end and a move-out date. If one of the terms of her living with you was babysitting every other Saturday, and she won't, then it was up to her to ask to renegotiate the terms. She wasn't willing to pay the sitter and could make other arrangements. There's sure to be off-campus housing available. She's free to find an apartment and roommates. I disagree with everyone here. You are the idiot. You don't calculate the cost of a room in your house based on what she'd pay at university. That's number one. You calculate based on what you could get from a stranger. She's not responsible for paying for your sitter. Calculate what you'd get for renting the room. Subtract the fact that you would never rent to a stranger because you have kids, a slight discount for her bonus for you because you have help. She's also only responsible for cleaning up after herself, not you and your spouse and children. That's extra. Where I live, a student could get a studio with utilities for $500 a month. So working 2 days a month at $20 an hour plus, it's actually more expensive to live with you. Agree. OP got a stay-in cleaner and sitter while being paid $500 a month. My mom paid for that when I was young. As I see it, OP had the real deal here. I don't know about your relationship, but if it was my sister, she would not be paying rent, only for food, electricity, and such. I would take some money that would be refunded by doing extra chores or watching kids. Your deal seems to exploit. Your mother's right. Your sister's not an unpaid nanny. I, 24 male, am the youngest of 3 kids. I was treated as the baby of the family and still kind of am. Not to any extreme. It's more of a joking thing. My dad curses like a trucker, and my brother will teasingly say, "Dad, not in front of the baby." It's all in good fun. They've never tried to prevent me from growing up. We're a really close family and hang out a lot. I have a family nickname, a shortened form of my name. Think Johnny for John, though that's not it, that I grew tired of in my teens. I never told them that, though, as it's harmless, and it doesn't bother me that much. Like I said, they didn't know that I didn't like it, and I know if I had told them, they'd stop immediately. I've been dating Ashley for a few months now. When she met my family, they called me by that nickname. She used it after we left, and I playfully rolled my eyes saying, "I hate that name." She was confused and asked why they called me that then. I said I never made a big deal out of it, and it really doesn't matter. I just prefer that outside of my parents and siblings, others don't use it. I also asked that she not say anything to them. She said okay. We got together last weekend for my mom's birthday. At one point, my sister said, "Johnny, do you want a soda?" Ashley went to help her. I didn't think much of it. After the party, my mom called and asked, "So how long have you hated that we call you Johnny?" My stomach dropped. I asked why she would assume that, and she said Ashley told my sister she should stop calling me that, as I hated it. My sister waited until the party ended to say anything, as she didn't want to cause drama. She told our parents so that they would know not to call me that anymore. I told my mom it was okay. It's not that I truly mind. She said if I had told them sooner, they would have stopped. I said, seriously, don't worry about it. She asked if I was sure a few times. I could tell she felt really guilty, and that made me sad. I called Ashley after and asked her why the heck she would say that. She said she was just trying to help out. I said she had no business saying anything. She's told me secrets, and I'd never dream of repeating them. She kept saying I was overreacting, and I should thank her. I told her she caused a bunch of drama over nothing. She told me I was ungrateful. I hung up the phone. She texted me a few times since, and I haven't responded. Her gist is I should have just told her if I didn't want her to say anything. My point is she never said she couldn't keep a secret, and she knew I wanted it to stay secret. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Here's why. It's not about the name at all. You told her something and asked her not to say anything. She said okay, and turned around and did it anyway. That the nickname thing is relatively minor is not the point. You had decided you didn't want to make an issue out of it. She took that decision away from you. And yes, she caused unnecessary hurt to your family that you didn't want to cause. Yeah, that's the thing. I can understand if she misunderstood. I can understand if she forgot. I can even understand if she thought she was helping. But when you hurt someone you care about, apologize. Instead, she defends her actions and tries to blame him for trusting her in the first place. What's the end game? He doesn't trust her anymore? How is that in any way desirable to her? Also saying, if you didn't want me to say anything, you shouldn't have told me. Like, do you know how secrets work? She expects you to be grateful for doing something you specifically asked her not to do. Drop her. You can't trust her. She didn't just betray your trust. She attacked you for being upset that she betrayed it. I, 20 female, am autistic, so I don't easily get social clues. Also, I'm majoring in biology. Yesterday we had a family gathering after my brother had his inborn, and everyone seemed happy and gave their congratulations. When I saw the baby and his green eyes, I couldn't stop thinking about how he could have green eyes while his parents have hazel brownish eyes. And I told my sister-in-law, it's a bit suspicious that her inborn has green eyes while her and my brother have hazel eyes. She asked the doctor, and she said that it's normal for an inborn to have lighter eyes, which will get darker as he grows. I said that's weird, because as far as I remember from my biology classes, what happens when one of the parents has lighter and the other has darker eyes? And I asked her if she was sure nothing had happened after her night shift job. Her work time alternates each month. She suddenly said she didn't feel well and wanted to sleep and asked us if we could leave. And then I left with my mom, and she called me an idiot for hurting her feelings. And I have no degree in medicine, and their doctor knows better than me. So, am I the idiot for telling my sister-in-law it's suspicious that her inborn has green eyes? You are the idiot. You went straight from my color, which was easily explained by the doctor, to, you must be having an affair at work? No amount of, doesn't get social clues accounts for accusing someone of having an affair with no proof or even a suggestion that it might be true. OMG, clearly you're not studying biology, or at least not very well. Not understanding the basic concept of recessive and dominant alleles is biology 101, and you don't even grasp that. Plus, you were purposefully rude for insinuating an affair. I don't care what your supposed lack of social cues is. Also, what the heck is an inborn? Clean up your act. Yeah, you'd think a biology major would know what a newborn is. Also, hazel eyes are a neat mix that can produce all sorts of colors, including green. They're not as simple as the brown dominant, blue recessive we learned in high school. What is worse is that the sister-in-law provided her with the correct explanation. As the baby grows, the pigment will accumulate in the eyes, and they'll get darker. A quick Google says there's an 18.8% chance of two brown-eyed parents having a green-eyed child. Are you really majoring in biology? You need to study more before you try to apply your knowledge. Autistic or not, try to learn not to blurt out things like, "You must have cheated because I took a biology class and I'm a know-it-all." I'm so embarrassed for you. I, female 35, have been dating Tom, 37, for almost 2 years now. Tom has a daughter, Aspen, a young teen. Tom has always babied Aspen, which is fine. Recently, Aspen has been sick, and Tom has really stepped up the babying. I think it's fine to baby your kids, but Aspen is a teenager and doesn't need to be babied anymore. I expressed this to Tom, but he says Aspen is still young and needs to be taken care of. Last night, I was going over to Tom's. He told me that the front door was unlocked, so I just walked in. Well, I walked in to find Aspen lying on Tom's lap, asleep. I asked Tom if he thinks Aspen is too old to do this. He said no, especially considering she's sick. I said I think she's too old, and it needs to stop. He told me I was being an idiot, and I needed to stop being weird about something completely normal. I told friends, and they also think I'm the idiot. Am I? You are the idiot. She's a child. He's her father. He can show her affection if he wants, and cuddle up with her when she feels unwell. If you make him choose between you and his daughter, he will make the correct choice and pick his daughter. OP basically believes that a child can be too old for receiving physical affection from a parent, when in reality, warm hugs and cuddles from a parent is extremely natural. Also, OP, are you jealous of the kid or the relationship between the father and daughter? That might explain your urge to stop the affection between them, but you have no business telling him it needs to stop. It doesn't matter what you think. It's his daughter. If he wants to baby her, let him. It's the latter. A man in my life loves someone else as well. This is an affront to me, is common. Mother-in-law versus wives, stepmothers versus kids, and even sisters versus girlfriends. I think stepmothers versus kids is the worst though, because why would you even want to be with someone who doesn't love and show love to their kids? I'm an adult, and I still cuddle with my parents. Nothing wrong with it. OP, you're triggered because you're insecure as a person. Go to therapy and touch grass instead of being jealous of a relationship between a father and daughter. He's right. She is still a kid. And if you're going to act like this, then he needs to dump you, and you need to go be with someone that doesn't have kids, because you're going to be a long-term issue for him and his daughter. I can already tell, if he doesn't practically throw his daughter out by 18, you're going to just about have an aneurysm over it. Stop being weird and let that man have someone mature enough to date him, because it's obviously not you.